Hello everyone, students of grade 12 advanced biology. Hassan, Khalid, Ahmed, Isa, Saeed, and Muhammad Bara. I hope you had some rest during the 2 weeks break. I know that you missed the school and you missed biology classes. I really share with you the same feeling. But what shall we do? This is something that we cannot manage. So this is our first session for distance learning. Now, hopefully, I'll be doing live streaming with you, but I'm preparing this PowerPoint in case something went wrong or we didn't achieve to do the live streaming that time. So it will be a short PowerPoint explaining what you are going to cover today. Each period you'll be having the resources, whether we are going to go live streaming or I'm going to send you the resources or the material of that period. Okay, so since you are coming from 2 weeks break, I'm in this lesson we are going to recall the phases of meiosis, and this is what we explained last, and we are going to describe how crossing over can lead to genetic diversity. As you move through Edmodo, the first post was you were supposed to watch a short video about the crossing over, and you were asked to draw crossing over on your notebook or journal. And as you know, you need to send the picture, high quality picture using cam scanner to me private message. So recalling the phases of meiosis. First of all, let's do a quick revision on chromosomes and the number of chromosomes in diploid and haploid cells. As you know that we have two types of cells, the somatic cells and we have the haploid cells. The main difference of these cells is the number of chromosomes and a way where they exist. The germ cells, they develop into gametes or the haploid cells. These cells are going to have one N chromosomes, it means 23 chromosomes in humans, and we call them even the sex cells, egg in female and sperm in male. And we explained before the importance of having meiosis in order to reduce the number of chromosomes so that the new embryo or the zygote will have 46 chromosomes, complete set of chromosomes, 23 from the father and 23 from the mother. Yes, and we said that the sex chromosomes are X and Y, XY for males and XX for females. So I'm going to move faster in this so that you, because you already know this, so that you can remember what we studied 2 weeks ago. This is called a karyotype. This is a karyotype of a male since there is X and Y. Okay, so all the body cells are diploid cells, gametes are haploid. I mean by haploid, they have one N chromosome or one set of chromosomes, 23 chromosomes. Now, there was a question, is there any relation between the chromosome number and the complexity of the organism? And I think that we discussed this question 2 weeks ago, and we said that there is no relation between the number of chromosomes and how complex the organisms are. Yet, the number of chromosomes determine the type of the species. It means all human beings have 46 chromosomes. For example, chimpanzee have 48 chromosomes, etc. So it's like a characteristic that all living organisms of the same species share. So as you know, mitosis produces cells that are identical and they have the same number of chromosomes, same genetic information, unless if there are mutations. Whereas meiosis produces 4 haploid cells that are not the same. So does this process continue furthermore? It's not going to continue. So these 4 cells here are mature and their function is to allow fertilization to happen, whether they are egg or sperm cells, they have 23 chromosomes. They will combine during reproduction, then fertilization, in order to produce new living organisms and in order to sustain life. Because if reproduction stops, it means the species that stop from reproducing, they are going to be extinct. Now, let's move into details of meiosis a little. As you know, meiosis is divided into 2 stages, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. You are going to see that they have similar names, like prophase 1, prophase 2, metaphase 1, but there are some differences, and here where it's a little bit tricky to understand the difference between meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So first of all, let's start with the first most important process happening, which is crossing over. So, interphase in mitosis, it's the same as interphase in meiosis, where the cell grows. It has 46 chromosomes. Then this cell is going to copy its DNA, as we said, until it's 46 and prepare for division. The difference is in mitosis, it does only one set of division, or one division only. The result of this division is two cells that have the same number of chromosomes, diploid cells. Whereas in meiosis, it will do two sets of division. We call it meiosis 1 and then meiosis 2. So the pairs of chromosomes, we call them homologous pairs. In the first, homologous chromosomes separate. What do I mean? It means that the 46 chromosomes are going to separate into 23 at one cell, 23 at the other cell. Now, in the second round of division, sister chromatids separate, and here, this stage, it resembles mitosis. In mitosis, if you remember, during anaphase, chromatids separate. I'll be having 46 and 46. Here, chromatids separate 23 chromatids and 23 chromatids. But since this is happening for two cells, so we are going to have 4 cells. Each cell will have 23 chromosomes. So this is meiosis 1. Take a few minutes to read what happens in each phase. Again, we are recalling this information. So after meiosis 1 occurs after DNA has been replicated. Here we are speaking about S phase and interphase. Meiosis 1 divides homologous chromosomes in 4 phases. So let me consider that you are in the class, 8 students, and these 8 students are sitting in pairs. Okay, in meiosis 1, I'm going to split the pairs into 2 sets. 2 pairs and 2 pairs. It means 1, 2, 1, 2, 4 at one side, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4 at the other side. So here, I'm having 1, 2, 3, 4 chromosomes. In the first division, which we call it meiosis 1, 2 chromosomes will completely move to one side, and other 2 chromosomes will move to the other side. But there is something remarkable here, that if you see the chromosomes here are shown in different colors. So the question is there any law or any rule where chromosomes separate? I mean, in meiosis, they line up in the middle and they separate. And the 2 cells will have exactly the same chromosomes, the replication or the replica of the chromosomes of the other cell. As a result, mitosis will lead or will result in cells that are identical. Whereas in meiosis, there is no rule to separate the chromosomes during meiosis 1. And mainly, we are speaking about anaphase 1. So during anaphase 1, the movement of the chromosomes that you see here, it's literally random. And we call this independent assortment. What we call it? Independent assortment. Independent, it means it doesn't depend on any rule. Assortment, distribution. So the distribution of chromosomes, it's going to be very random. That's why there is no way to have 2 sperm cells or 2 egg cells exactly the same, because we are speaking about 46 chromosomes lining up in the middle, then separating randomly. So even if there is one slight change between the position of only one chromosome from one meiosis to another, this will result in different cells. So what is the probability of having 2 cells the same in different meiosis? It's maybe 0.000001%, which is not possible. So this is the first process that leads to variation or genetic variation. We call it independent assortment. Now, there's something much more important, which is crossing over, and this is the reason why we have this wild variation in siblings, because sometimes you have some traits shared with your fathers, others with your father, other traits shared with your mother. The reason is crossing over, and we'll be discussing crossing over in the next video or PowerPoint. Meiosis 2. Now we have 2 cells. Each cell has 2 chromosomes. Now each chromosome will separate, and again, this is here, it's similar to as you remember, to mitosis. Sorry, I'm unable to type it well. Okay. So meiosis 2 is exactly mitosis. Why? Because we are starting with 2 chromosomes in this example, and we are ending with 2 chromosomes. But the difference here, complete chromosomes, here chromatids. So at the end, I will be having 4 cells that are different. These are the haploid cells. So comparing mitosis to meiosis, mitosis produces cells that are identical, whereas meiosis produces different cells. It results in diploid cells, whereas meiosis haploid cells. It takes place. It takes place only at certain times in an organism's life. Let me explain a bit about this. So when we say that it takes place only at a certain time, it means that meiosis doesn't happen all the time. It starts in males at puberty and lasts forever. For sure, by time it's going to be less efficient, but it lasts forever for this reason. A male at the age of 70 is still capable of reproducing or producing sperm. On the other hand, females, the meiosis starts in embryonic life. So during the formation of the female zygote, meiosis starts. Then what happens? It will pause. You remember G0? It will pause or stop at prophase 1 until puberty is reached after birth, which is around maybe at the age of 9, 10, 11, or 12 during this, because it's different from one female to another. So during puberty, meiosis will continue. And this is the time where the female is able to give birth or to become pregnant, when she starts producing eggs. Now, does this proceed forever? No, it doesn't proceed forever. It will continue until there is a stage, we call it menopause. And again, menopause, it's relative from one female to another. There are many factors that influence the existence or the appearance of the menopause. We can discuss this later when we study the reproductive system. So the menopause, usually it's around the age of 40 to 45 to 50, and this is where we call it in Arabic sin al-yas. At this stage of time, the woman won't be able after that to give birth. It means meiosis is not occurring and no eggs are produced. So production of sperm is called spermatogenesis, and usually it produces 4 sperms. And production of eggs, at the other hand, called oogenesis, and it produces only 1 egg. And this is going to be our topic for the next session. Please, if you do have questions, write your questions now. Send them on the wall so that everyone can get benefit of your questions, or send me a private message. And make sure that the more questions that you ask, more information that you get. I'm looking forward to meet with you next period, which is going to be, I think, on Wednesday.